Sascha,
Yes.
thank you for meeting us here. We are at the People's Meeting regarding food, the Madens Folkemøde. You are a politician. You choose to be here
Yes.
today to talk about food. How can that be a part of your agenda?
Policy for food is one of the most important parts seen from my perspective. It was where I started my interest for politics on a large scale. So being here and having the opportunity to be part of two debates is just wonderful to me. So I'm so happy.
We just came out of a debate that we both participated in that was regarding the difficulties that you can face as a small producer in this country. And I myself, through Relay Community and the Farm of Ideas project, I've sort of had a little taster of how difficult it becomes to deal with food once you go the agricultural level. Or to the agricultural level, while I have been brought up with the idea of professionally in cooking that you can do quite a lot of things. You can get away with a lot of things, and I think we in Denmark have a quite simple and straightforward system for the health department to check up on us. But once you go to the primary level, when it comes to producing the food, things become very, very, very different.
Historically, about 100, 120 years ago, we began to build a system that was really based on production and export of our food. And to that level, our system is organized in a way that we create income and jobs on the production level. So one produces this, the next takes the next level, and so on. So it's all been separated over time and gone away from the more holistic way of producing that we saw just 150 years ago. So now as people are being more innovative around this, they end up in this field of, oh my God, I want to produce this and I want to sell it in my own shop. But if you take pigs, for instance, if you grow pigs and then you want to have them slaughtered, and then sell them in your own shop, you have to transport them away to this way to be slaughtered, this way to be cut up, and then back to your own place. So that's a systematic thinking, and that we do need to change. We still need to keep that on a large scale, but for the small scales, we need to flip it around and say, hey, how can we make it much more easy and less complicated?
Yeah. My main surprise was that it was not obvious that we need to leave room for the small, local, quality-orientated production of foods, because to me it's evident, and I'm biased because this is what I work with all the time, but to me it's evident that this will have benefits for everybody. I cannot see the negative effects of it. But it seems to be that the actual food system that we are in has such a fear towards anything that can challenge the way of the industry today, that it does not even leave room for other ways to be even presented. And do you think that that's something that we have room to, is there room for us to change this at a political level? And would there be benefits for the society that we're in to do that?
The new small-scale packages for me actually are quite a step in this direction, and I think you and others in the field of cooking have actually been reaching into this, because you have shown that we can do food differently in Denmark than with traditionally. I actually see what you have been doing is an engine in terms of being able to change it, because the idea behind it, as I saw the written text behind the new policies, were that we want to create food tourism and new Nordic cuisine and all of that. If that can be the driver into making it easier to actually produce this, then it will have the benefit. So for me, it's the first step. It's definitely not enough, but it's the first step into it. So I believe we can get there, but it will take time with the current system.
And I think what's interesting, and what I would like to, having experience from the restaurant industry, and stepping into agriculture, to have a little bit of what we have in the restaurant industry, where now it's become very common the last 5-10 years to say that you do a pop-up. When you do a pop-up restaurant, then many of the regulations that you have in terms of what the hygienic standard needs to be for you to run a restaurant are obviously loosened up upon, because it's a one-time event that will influence a small amount of people, and everybody knows that this is a different situation that is everyday life. But this leaves room for if a person wants to, make a cheese-based dinner and wants to do something in that direction, invite 150 people to try and do that, and live out of passion, and in that sense, go somewhere and bring a new type of experience to people, he can actually do it. But what I miss in the agricultural system is that you have this opportunity. I want to make a raw milk cheese of a small production in safe, intelligent, modern environment, reach a few people and see where this can go. And I think that there's so many benefits to find from this, but we need a culture of being able to open up for innovation, coming from not the traditional farm setup with big farms and big investment, but with allowing for small people with great passions to go out and try something new. How do you think we can get to that point? Is food safety so important, or is it so scary? Are we over proportioning this idea of it being safe when it comes to that point that we cannot do anything?
I think there are two aspects of what you're saying. One thing is many of the safety issues that we are working with today actually come from large-scale agriculture because it easily spreads. You see the MRSA, for example, is because of the large scale. If you look at it, if you just take organic farms, they have much less of it. If you go down to small scale, free-range animals, it's even less. So it's very evident that it's large scale that has this. So on large scale, we do need to be cautious. The other part, actually, cheese from raw milk is a very good example because if we go back, the laws around it was made before we had antibiotics, and it was actually an issue back then because we came to a place where we had large scale, but we didn't have the disinfection methods yet to actually have very clean and sterile environment to make the raw cheese. But if we go to that part, I actually think we should change the system. So for the large scale, we do need to be very cautious, but for the small scale, we can actually see it works. I love raw milk cheese. I've been hunting it for years in small shops, and when I've been living abroad, it's what I've been eating because I love it, the taste of it, but also it feels different in the body. But the other part is, if we could take what you say from your part of business and the flexibility. Where I work, for instance, it's also a professional kitchen, and we have the gold brand in ecological food. But we do have two fridges, and that means that this is the one we use professionally. And then if it's a community house, so if other people come in and want to use it, they use that fridge. And in that way, it doesn't mess up with our mark, and we can still allow everybody to come and use it as long as they keep it clean. So if we could make it, for me, it's a very good visual of what we need to do. Here's the things we need to do for the one part, and then we have the community part that makes space for creativity and experiments and tiny small scale and different sizes instead of being measures like we put it just like 100 years ago. And it's basically because we were in a different time, but we're still living with the same way of thinking in terms of regulation. And that we need to shake up.
Really, it's a question of tolerance, no? As it is in every other layer of society and also in politics, is whether you have an outlook on life that needs to be able to embrace many different things, including diversity and tolerance and what that takes, because that has an embedded risk. But obviously, if you just want to have everything streamlined and being all the same and very square and very easy to overview and easy to understand, then there is less of a risk. But I think that there's a big risk of losing out on many things in that sense.
And it's not only a risk, it's also making us poorer in terms of taste and in terms of small things of everything and nutritionals and so on, because we can't experiment with that if we only have the large scales and everything. So for me, it's a benefit, and also because I think if we take it to the very large way of thinking, we are facing mass extinction of species, and we are facing a climate. Somebody would say catastrophe, but at least a very serious issue. Small scale will be part of that solution, together with the other one, because if we do need to handle different situations, the innovation which is behind that will be so important in creating new solutions. Thinking the 100 years old thinking will not take us to new places. So I actually do think that you're instrumental in the way forward.
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Sascha.
Thank you.
I wish you a great election, and I hope everything goes well. Thank you very much.